What's up, guys? Welcome to the Chess Giant. This is Solomon Riddell, and today's video is really for you e4 players trying to find a strong response against the Sicilian defense, which, by the way, is Black's most popular option against e4. In this position, there's absolutely nothing wrong with White playing knight f3 followed by d4 with the main line. However, oftentimes, chess players don't want to go with this because Black is usually very well prepared for the chess opening strategy and positions that arise out of these variations. And on top of that, learning the chess opening theory can take a ton of time. What can we play against the Sicilian defense that is easy to learn, yet very effective and hard for Black to deal with? In today's video, I'm recommending the move c4 with the stanchion Cochrane variation. And really the whole point of c4 is to really put an eye on b5 and d5. And really in the Sicilian defense, Black eventually really needs to break through with d5 and or b5. So really by playing c4 right away, we are trying to lock up any chance of Black having counterplay. Really the only downside of playing the move c4 is obviously this d4 square is now very weak. So we do need to take care of the square, but I really do find that e4 and c4 with the stanchion Cochrane variation is a very underrated opening with some pretty good potential. I mean, let's say Black plays a move like knight c6, which is very logical, looking to eventually maybe play a move like knight d4. Well, now we can play knight c3, and in this position, there's really two main ideas that you're going to see a ton. One of them is e6, knight f6, and d5, trying to break this game open right away. Another one is g6 and bishop g7, looking to support this knight going into d4. Let's first go over the move g6. I think this is probably what you're going to see most of the time. Against this, I like playing the move g3, and against bishop g7, playing bishop g2, followed by knight ge2. There's really not a ton that Black can do from stopping this setup. And now after a move like knight f6, we can play d3, castle kingside, and now if a move like a6, we can start to slowly expand on the king side of the board with a move like h3. Now, if a move like rook b8 is played looking to support this b5 push, we can now play a4 again. We're trying to keep down b5 and d5 moves from ever happening. And here, if a move like bishop d7, we can play bishop e3, continue with f4, and I actually think that White has a pretty solid game here. We have d4 ideas, g4 ideas, advancing on the king side of the board. b3 is always a good move, really protecting that c4 and a4 pawns, just continuing to solidify our light squared pawns on the queen side of the board. And here White has a very solid game. I would give the clear edge to White. Now, just a second ago, we covered the move bishop d7, in which White can play bishop e3, followed by f4. We have kingside attack ideas in that position there. We can always play moves like b3, rook b1, to solidify our game. White really has no weaknesses there, and we do have ourselves a nice middle game position. However, I do want to go over a key idea with knight e8. Oftentimes, you're going to see a move like knight d7 or knight e8. Really, the whole purpose behind this is getting this bishop to have range on d4, helping prepare this knight d4 move. But notice how I played bishop e3 to put a little bit of pressure on that knight. And I actually don't recommend taking the knight, but simply playing rook b1, supporting a b4 push. This looks absolutely insane. The whole point here is that if c takes b4 is played, we can take back with the rook, and this knight on d4 is very vulnerable to attack. It really doesn't have a stronghold on that square because the pawn would be out of the way. And if a move like b6 is played, really trying to hold on to that knight on d4, we can now continue with f4 followed by king h2. This knight on d4 is a very strong piece, but we as White have a very nice position, and honestly, White is controlling this game. White does have this knight, but we have space advantage on the queen side of the board, a space advantage on the king side of the board, and it's very hard for me to see how Black can really control the rest of this game. I mean, the b6 pawn is locked in to c5, as well as that d6 pawn. This knight on c7 is very awkwardly placed. This rook on b8 really isn't doing a ton. This queen on d8 can barely even move. And while Black is kind of moving around with this knight on d4, which is a very strong piece, we can continue to naturally expand and really improve the positioning of our pieces. I think it's also good to keep in mind that we can always take this knight. This knight on d4 is currently attacked by our bishop on e3 and knight on e2. This knight is not immortal. We can take it anytime we want. And in some cases, if we take back with the bishop and c takes d4 is played, we can enjoy a space advantage again on the queen side of the board. White has a very solid game here. So that covers the move g6 followed by bishop g7. I think in that case, we just got to fianchetto that bishop, play knight e2, d3, castle kingside, start to expand on the king side of the board. And I really like White's game there, despite this knight being on d4, which is a little bit annoying, but it's important for us to play bishop e3 and always have an eye on that knight just in case we feel like taking that minor piece off the board. What about the move e6? Well, against this, again, I think that White should play g3, followed by fianchettoing this bishop on g2, continuing to mount pressure on d5. But honestly, in this position, I think the only move for Black is d5. I think if Black plays anything else, I'd give the clear edge to White. Now, I know some of you are probably wondering, how on earth could Black ever play the move d5? And honestly, if you're not playing expert, master, grandmaster level players, there's a good chance you're not going to see this move, because really right now, Black has 3 defenders, a queen, a pawn, and a knight, while White has 4 attacking pieces, 2 pawns, a knight, and a bishop. I mean, at least when I first saw this move, I was wondering, how on earth can this be played? White has 1 more attacking piece than Black has defending it. But really the whole idea is that following c takes d5, e takes d5, and e takes d5, Black now has this very key knight b4 move, now attacking that pawn with 3 pieces, the 2 minor knights, and the queen on d8. Against this, though, I think that White is completely fine following the move d3, a key move here. And now following knight b takes d5, we're going to trade down our knight and now play this amazing queen maneuver with queen a4 check, attacking the king on e8. Now notice how queen d7 can't be played, because we'd simply take that queen and then win that knight on d5 because it would no longer be protected. So following the move bishop d7, we can now play queen e4 check, an absolutely crazy maneuver, moving our queen to a4, attacking the king, queen to e4, attacking the king again, and attacking that knight on d5. Here, after a move like bishop e6, we can play knight e2, followed by knight f4, attacking that knight in the center of the board, attacking the bishop on e6. And really the only move that keeps Black alive here is knight takes f4, in which case we can play bishop takes f4. And now notice that we have a very active bishop pair on f4 and g2, as well as the queen attacking that b7 pawn, and there's really no easy way for Black to defend this. I mean, if a move like rook b8, we simply take that rook off the board. If a move like queen b6, we can still take that pawn. I think really the only move here for Black to defend that pawn on b7 is through bishop c8, going all the way back. But now we just have a huge edge in development and activity of the pieces. We can castle kingside, continue with rook fe1. Again, a very active bishop pair pouncing down on the queen side of the board, as well as our queen on e4 attacking b7, the bishop on e7, the pawn on h7. We have an active rook on e1, a rook on a1 that is soon going to get involved in this game. White has a very nice and comfortable middle game position here. If you'd like to learn more on the theory behind the Snyder variation, another strong and rare response against the Sicilian defense, click the video to the left. If you'd like to learn more about the hippopotamus defense, a fun and strong chess opening that you can play with either side, click the video to the right. Leave a comment to let me know what other videos you'd like to see covered on this channel. And as always, I appreciate you guys. Thanks for watching. Peace.